So we're looking at the final exam, made it very close to the finish line. We're about to pass it. And the final exam is to replicate the house plan that I will provide at the beginning of class Friday at noon. And you have 3 hours and 20 minutes to replicate that. Now let's look at the rubric. That'd be the starting point. What are we looking for? Well, we know these are the things that I will look at to see if you've provided. Site location in the sheet list, and these are the points that are possible. If you did it correctly, that's what you get. If you did it, but not very well, you get it. And if you didn't do it at all, or did it very poorly, that's the scores that you'll get. We need a door schedule and a window schedule, a basement, a first, a second floor plan, and a roof plan. 4 elevations, front, left, rear, and right. It looks like 5 sections. Okay, that's what I'm looking for you to do in those 3 hours and 20 minutes. So let's prepare for the final exam. We have, let's go. I want to get rid of a lot of these tabs up here, first of all, but let's see. Okay, here we go. So we have in your midterm, you made 3 stacked walls. You made a garage wall, you made a house wall, and you made a house garage wall, the wall that goes between the house and the garage. You made 3 different walls for your midterm and stacked walls. So what you would want to do initially is set that up so that, let's close all of these other tabs. And then let's look at a section that goes through, I think this one. Yes. These are the 3 stacked walls that you've made. Hopefully you've made them correctly. We have the garage wall. We have the house wall, which is in blue on the floor plan, and you don't need to change the colors. I'm doing this just for your benefit. And then the house garage wall. So we have those 3. So WT, let's look at that. I want to split the screen by typing WT, and it takes all of the tabs up above and changes them. So we would want to, before class, arrange our floor plan so that the garage wall is here. The, you know what? I think I've labeled this one incorrectly. Let's fix that. We'll move that one over here. And we'll move that one over here. Okay, so the house garage wall is in blue, that's here. And the house wall is in green, and that's here. So you would want to take these walls, which you have in your midterm, and arrange them in such a way. So let's see here. So if we take a look at the 3 walls, we have your garage wall, house garage wall, and house wall. We need to assemble those. So I like to copy my stacked walls. I don't like to use create similar. So simply just copy this wall over to here. And then we need 1, 2, 3 of those. So I can mirror it. And now I have 2, and then I can copy it and rotate it. And then put it over. Now you don't know what the dimensions when you're setting up for your final exam, you don't know what the dimensions of these objects are, how big the garage is. Let's move that back to here. Not that much. Well, first thing we want to make sure is that we have brick on the outside. We can see that O'Shea hatch marks are brick. Okay. So now we've set up our garage. This is the blue wall, which is this one. Copy, just bring it over to here. and we need to rotate it. So rotate 90 degrees, and we'll just drag it over here. Not worried about exactly where it's located because you'll definitely modify it. And then the final would be these green walls, which is this one. We simply copy it over to here, and let's use the mirror, and we'll copy it again, and let's rotate it. So now we have three parts of that wall. We need to get a wall here, and we need to get a wall here. So let's mirror this one. And it looks like it put it right on top of the other one here. So now we don't know which is which. This, I'm just going to undo it. Go back. So I'm going to mirror this one right here and then drag it over here, make it a little bit smaller. This isn't a necessary move, but I'm going to do it anyway. It makes it a little bit easier for me. Now, what has to happen? The edge of this inside edge is the gypsum board. So that needs to line up with the gypsum board here. We know we can use the align tool for that. Click on the edge here, zoom over to here, click on the edge here. And now we know that this wall and this wall line up. Let's do the same thing here and here. Okay. Now all we need to do is clean it up. So we use our trim extend, which we all remember from AutoCAD is fillet. Does the same thing. We click on the parts that we want to keep. So if I clicked on this side of it and this side of it, look what happens. It keeps that element, which is not what I want. I want to click on the parts that I want to keep. Then we can do this, and we can do this. And then we can probably just drag this guy up, and Revit will connect it for us. And we can drag it down. And Revit, and notice how they line up now. All right, so now we're set up for our floor plan, which we don't know what we're going to do yet. Now, setting up for so I'm going to delete this because that was just demonstration. But setting, and we'll use the one that I have already set up here. Okay. So now, if we take a look at our rubric, we know that we have to show these things. The fact that you did this in your Revit model is not enough. You need to show me when I check your final exam that you did it, and you do that, you show me that through your sections or through your sheets. So let's start out with our basement plan. And this is what I would definitely do ahead of time, is move my basement plan onto my sheet. You see that it might be a little bit too big now, so activate the view, and we'll change the scale from 1/4. We'll go down one line, which is 3/16. It looks like it fits, and deactivate the view. And I'll use the arrows on the keyboard. All I want to do now is just get this set up for, I have a label way up here. Let's drag it down. You have this grid guide. I get close to that, but I wouldn't worry about it at this point. I'm not grading for that on your final exam, but I am grading for using a grid guide for your final project. But anyway, so we have it sort of set up. Our basement plan looks good. We know that there's not a site plan, although you have that in your template. So let's go down to the properties of the site plan, which is the active view. So we're seeing the properties of the active view. Appears in sheet list? No, because you're not required to show that. Basement plan, yes, so it does appear. First floor plan, looks like we have it laid out preliminarily. If I were trying to set this up, I might pull these over a little bit to make sure that they're inside of the sheet. Because the objective here is to get set up ahead of time so that you're not doing this work during the actual exam, because that means that you're wasting time or you're spending time doing something that you could have done ahead of time. We don't need to see all of these things. Let's activate the view, and we can't see two things we're doing down here. First, we're saying don't crop, and secondly, we're showing don't show it. So I want to see the crop region. That looks pretty good, but we'll make it a little bit bigger. This is all still set up. These boxes, these objects that you're seeing here are the cameras for the elevations. So we want to make sure that our cameras are set up so that this elevation is looking at the front of the house, and this one's looking at the left side, this one's looking at the rear, and this one's looking at the right side. But we don't need to see those in our plan view. So VG for visibility graphics. And let's type E for elevations and see. Nope, let's go here for E for elevations. Let's see if we uncheck that, what happens. Yep, they go away. So they're still there. We didn't delete them. They're just not visible. First floor plan. All right, so we can't see that. So what are we going to do? Well, right click and activate the view. And we're going to say don't crop so that we can see where it is. And then we're going to say show the crop region, which is way up here, but this is what we want to see. So let's grab that crop region and move it around the house. Now we can say don't, or we're going to say do crop the view, so we only see that. Deactivate the view so that we can move this guy over to there. Looks like the scale is too big again. Activate the view. We'll change it from a quarter. Below that, the next one line below that is the next lower scale, 3/16. Okay. Deactivate the view. All we're trying to do is set this up for our final exam. We're not, because we don't know what the floor plan is going to be at this point. So we're just trying to get it set up, which is just saving time. Now, if it turns out that the final house is bigger than this, then you'll have to modify the scale, or you might need to reorient it on there, but it's a lot easier to have it all set up ahead of time, I believe, than if I were a student in this class. I would definitely want to do that. So where's my crop region? I want to see it. Oh, it's hidden. We're going to unhide that. Unhide the crop region. That looks okay. Section, maybe we want to bring that section over there a little bit. Let's see if we can nudge it with our keys. So I'm just setting that up. I don't want to see the crop region, but I eventually probably want to see this section. So right click, unhide in view, category, and boom. Okay, so now there's my second floor plan. Now I do want to see it dimensioned. That's one of the requirements. So we might want to grab that. And which one do we want to put on this sheet? Well, we would want to put the first or second floor dimensioned. Now, the only difference between these two, it really is that in this view on the second floor, we've set up through visibility graphics not to show the dimensions. And on this view, we've set it up to show the dimensions. So, well, we can't see the house. So let's activate the view, first of all. Secondly, let's say don't crop. Now we can see where it is. And it looks like our crop region is not turned on. So let's turn it on. We can see that that crop region is way over there. Let's make it a little bit bigger so the whole house fits into it. Okay, now we don't need, well, let's deactivate the view and let's grab that view and drag it over there. We know that it's a little too big. We'll activate the view again. We'll change the scale from quarter to 3/16. deactivate the view. This time I'm just going to click on it and use the arrow keys to nudge it over. That's pretty good for now. Somewhere there's a label. I see it up there. I'll just drag it over so it's close. This might move. And if I do move that, then that will move my label, but that's pretty good for now. All right, so what's going on? Do I need to see all of that? Not really. Activate the view. So this, we're going to crop the view. So only the things that are inside the crop region are going to show. Maybe make it a little bit bigger over here, a little bit smaller over here. That's just being fussy. Now, do we want to see the crop region? No, hide the view. Now, which view are we in here? Okay, that's the second floor dimensioned. Now, let's go to the roof plan. Now here, uh, I want to help you out with the view range. So I'm going to type VR. In order to see the roof plan, this is the settings that you want to use for your view range. So you type VR. The top, we're going to see all the way 200 feet above the roof plan. We're going to see, we're going to cut 40 feet above the roof plan. And we're going to see all the way down to the roof plan, 0 and 0. So use these settings and your roof plan will become visible in your drawing, on this particular drawing. Now again, that was the actual plan. That view range is probably the most important piece of information for the roof to make sure that it's visible, and we want to set that up ahead of time. So I did that, gave you that information because you could work through it yourself. Okay, so we're going to go to the roof plan sheet. Don't see the roof plan. Oh, there it is. So I drag it over to there. And now I'm just using the arrow keys on the keyboard. Activate the view. 3/16 is the one right below a quarter. So that's the scale we want it to be. Okay. What else do we have here? The view is active. We don't want to see all of that, so but we do want to see the crop region. Oh, look how big that one is. So we'll just make it uh, smaller. And then we'll say, don't crop it. We'll use this one. All right. And then we can come in here and make it a little bit. I can see some of the, yeah, right there. And probably, this is just getting set up. I'm just trying to save some time so that when I actually took the exam, when I actually take the exam, I would have a lot less busy work to do. So now look at the sections. All right, well, let's look. Uh-oh. There's no plus sign, so there's nothing on that section, but section 2 has something. So let's see what that is. That's SS for side to side. Here is my house now with my garage wall and my house garage wall. The differentiation is that we didn't put any brick on the second floor above the house garage wall, and the house wall has brick all the way up. So that's the difference, but we probably would be a good idea to drag our levels across there. I would like to see that in your sections. We do that by just clicking on that little dot, which is right there, and we can drag it over. And if our levels are all locked, then they'll all drag over at the same time. We only want to drag them sideways, and that's why we use that little dot, because that little dot won't let us change the, if we can change the uh, location of the bubble or circle, but it's not going to change the elevation of the level, which is 2.0. So it doesn't look too bad for now. What's left? Roof plan. Well, let's grab that. Let's grab that roof plan and bring it over to. You might have some trouble finding your roof plan on your midterm. It took me a little while to find it, but it's there. All right. So this is SS, and we want to see the crop region. We're going to pull that guy down a little bit to make sure that it includes everything. And then this button, we don't want to see anything outside of the crop region. What's this? Oh, that's our grade. We should probably pull that grade over. This is all preliminary work. We want to do this ahead of time, not after the fact. You have 3 hours and 20 minutes to replicate what I share with you. So you want to make sure that you can spend all of that time doing the actual replication and not this setup work. That's a level. Okay. So for now, I think that looks pretty good. And that's the first section. And then we have SS, which is side to side. And then we're looking at section front to back, which is right here. Okay. That's on sheet 10, so we might want to change that. Oh, let's tell it not to crop it, so hopefully we can. All right, so that section doesn't even go through our house, so let's go to one of the plans. All right, here we go. We can see this section, but we don't see the front to back. So let's not crop the view, and we're looking for section FB. I hover over, it will tell us what is what, but this is the one we want because it's FB. And we'll just put that right there for now. Way too big, of course, so we can grab these little dots and drag them down because we want it to be inside of our sheet. Same thing with this one. Again, this is all preliminary work. We're not doing anything other than setting up for the actual final exam. These are the things we want to do ahead of time. Okay. But we don't want this section on sheet 10. We want it on section 5. So I'm going to right click and say remove from sheet. Okay. All right. So now let's see, deactivate the view. Section 10, which is this one, should not have. What are we looking at here? Yeah, we don't want that. We don't need this for our final exam. All right. So let's go to section. We'll close section 10 down completely. We want FB. Let's put FB on section 1. Okay, so that's our sheet, section 1. Now we'll go up into the browser and we'll look for FB. It's not on a sheet any longer. There's no coloring in there. So we'll click on it and we'll drag it over and we'll place it. Okay. So now we're in pretty good shape here. Oh, looks like it's a little bit bigger than, what scale is it? 8. Oh boy. Activate the view. We'll change the scale to 3/32 so that the entire section fits on that sheet. We're going to just drag it over there. And I'm using the keyboard to nudge it down. Look at my title block or my label. So to activate this little bubble, you just click on the view. That will drag it over. And then to move it, you want to grab it and move it like that. Okay, look at my crop region. So let's see. Activate the view. And we'll pull that all the way over to here. Pull that over to here. Up a little more. Okay. So now we have 2 sections. That will be pretty good for part 1 of setting up for the final exam.